Welcome to Presente, a space and community that vibes on being in the moment, something we are relearning how to do in a fast-moving world.
We are excited to be part of a growing movement that talks about topics that we feel haven't been talked about in our Latin culture and womanhood.
Be present with us. Take a pause and break down societal norms.
Redefine the meaning of existing. Welcome to Presente, the podcast.
We are now in episode 2 of Presente, the podcast. For today's episode, it is officially the holidays. Thanksgiving is just days away around the corner. In today's episode, we will be talking all things Thanksgiving, traditional dishes, the importance of Thanksgiving, how we will be spending Thanksgiving, and the true history of Thanksgiving in America. Stay tuned. Thanksgiving, the start of the holiday season. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode where we will be discussing all things relative to Thanksgiving. It is officially Thanksgiving. I can't believe that we're now in November, finishing off the year. Thanksgiving is usually the start of the holidays where all the festivities of celebration and get-togethers start. With that in mind, Thanksgiving to me is a time to reflect of the year on how to carry on over into next year. It is a time to give thanks and be appreciative and much gratitude with my family and friends. And just pretty much take a moment to embrace all the goodness, lows, and highs of what the year may have entailed. While Thanksgiving is a time to get together, we all know that it takes a lot of preparation for when the week of Thanksgiving comes or Thanksgiving Day itself. And that just, includes a lot of thoughts and time out to figure out what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, whose house we're going to be spending Thanksgiving at, making reservations if necessary, and the list goes on and on. In today's episode, we will discuss a little about all of that and more importantly, just give much more insight into Thanksgiving with some closing statements from Jissela. Thanksgiving, the start of the holidays. I mean, I still don't know what I'm going to be wearing. I usually don't think about it too much. There's this meme that goes around of what outfit will you be wearing in La Sala? And for those of you who don't know, La Sala means the living room. Usually it's pretty much casual. It's not like I'm bringing out a big gown out the closet or going shopping too much for that matter. But you definitely want to be polished up and presentable, I guess, and bringing out your good side. So while I don't know what I'll be wearing, I do know that I want to be comfortable and I want to feel good. Most likely in my family's house. I do have family that will be traveling this year, so I won't necessarily get to spend it with my immediate family. They will be visiting Dominican Republic, but my extended family, yes. And I look forward to it. It's always good to see familiar faces and loved ones. I'm sure it's going to be a very great time. How about you, Jissela?
Well, I love that you brought out the meme outfits for La Sala or to go out to eat. Thanksgiving in my family, for the most part, is pretty chill. I feel like as I've gotten older, it's gotten that way. But in the past, when I was younger, I remember my parents throwing all these parties and inviting so many people. And then we had all this food. And again, very grateful to be sharing it with loved ones. As a kid, I saw it as a boring holiday because I was like, all we're doing is eating. But as I've gotten older and food has become more appetizing and wonderful time to enjoy a meal and to be grateful, I've learned to redefine my view of Thanksgiving. But as far as outfits, I have no idea what I'm going to wear. I feel like we're in the same boat. I'm probably just gonna wear something very casual, very comfortable, because I know I'm going to be eating seconds. Also, as I've gotten older, and made new relationships in my life, usually it was always a time I spent with my family. But recently, these past couple of years, I've been going to the boyfriend's family, where his mom cooks a very delicious meal of ribs and of moro, potato salad. Anyways, it's just a big feast, and it's really lovely to spend time with my boyfriend's family. And the reason why we do this is because we usually do Christmas and New Year's at my family's, and those are the bigger holidays and more of my favorite holidays. That is how I start the holiday season at home. Traditional dishes and must-haves.
And given that we are in the Thanksgiving celebratory holiday, we know it's a time to feast while being with our friends and loved ones. Some of the dishes that I look forward to would be, I love the sweet yams. And I think that's something that I always bring to the table. The sweet potato with marshmallows melted on top, caramelized. It's something my mom taught me how to do at a very young age. I always ask if she's going to do it. It came to a point where I just brought it myself. And it's always a hit, just having that little bit of a sweet, savory side to whatever else is on your plate. I'm not someone who really does the whole turkey thing. I'll be honest about that. I prefer chicken or beni. Beni is pork. I just, never really had turkey that much. And if I did, it is a little on the dry side. But I am open to it if it's there. Some of the other dishes do include the potato salad, lasagna. I love all of that. I am a foodie. I literally go the whole day probably without eating, just meal prepping, cooking at home. I usually do bring something to the table. I never really come empty-handed. And there's a chicken salad that my fiance makes, and that is really good. He's Brazilian, so it's called salpicón. It's a traditional Brazilian chicken salad, and it is by far a hit. Anytime, whether Thanksgiving or not, like he throws it down, he makes it, and it's always really good. So those are some of the things that I look forward to that I definitely like. I do go for seconds. I do take leftovers with me. Ain't nothing wrong with no leftovers. I don't understand how some people don't like leftovers, but yeah, I just love having a variety of foods made from everyone's best dish added to the table. We all come together. And before all of that, it's kind of like deciding like, oh, so who's going to bring this and who's going to bring that? And the days leading up to Thanksgiving, make sure that you get all your ingredients while you can at the supermarket. Don't be the one to go last, because that's a bummer when you're missing certain things. Like if you're going to make a mac and cheese or a potato salad, get everything you need to prep for it. I am not someone who has ever really made reservations and have spent Thanksgiving outside of the household. I have done it for like New Year's, and that's pretty cool. Just a different setting, but not so much for Thanksgiving. It's usually just always family time. When it comes to the Thanksgiving holiday, I personally think everything is actually made and not store-bought. It's made from scratch. If you buy certain things, that's totally fine. You want to buy the apple pie or pumpkin pie, hey, totally fine. I like that too. But usually everything is freshly made from scratch, from the heart. It's always made with love, and that's something that I really like about the Thanksgiving and just the holidays around the end of the year itself. I definitely do.
As far as cooked or scratch bought dishes, it depends. I know for a fact when I was younger, everything was made from scratch. But, the older my parents have gotten, they do a blend of store-bought food as well as food from scratch. In my house, there is actually turkey. My mom has over the years been able to not make it dry. I understand that there is a lot of households that don't hold turkey for Thanksgiving. And we actually love leftovers in our household. We actually take that turkey, we cut it up, and we actually make sandwiches with it. And my dad makes the most amazing chimichurri like sauce with green scallions and like jalapenos and red onions. Is the most I love chimichurri sauce. It's so, and the way that my dad makes it is, it's just bomb. It's just so good.
I'm gonna need some of that chimichurri sauce. Sounds really good.
Yes.
I like it too.
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. And if we're really lucky, sometimes my mom has made Honduran tamales. What that was like, something everybody looks forward to. My grandmother was actually the one that passed on the recipe to her kids. That included my mom and my aunts and uncles. Every Christmas or Thanksgiving, we would look forward to those tamales. But it's a process to make, so my mom has declined making them over the years. Regardless, they're something we look forward to. So maybe if we're lucky, we get them sometimes. But the tamales are delicious. And then as far as like dessert goes, flan is usually the preferred dessert to enjoy. There's also arroz con leche. I really like it. I like it cold though. I know there's some people that like it like straight out the pot when it's warm, but I prefer cold arroz con leche. I don't know why. To me, it tastes like ice cream.
Cold is better, in my opinion.
Yeah, cold is just good. So yeah, these are some of the traditions we've had over the years in my household as far as food day, Thanksgiving day goes. And then of course, now that I'm, with my boyfriend, we have what his mom makes, and it's a whole bunch of different Dominican dishes. Her barbecue ribs are a hit. This is the dish she makes every single year, and we always go after more. And even so, I want to say in most Hispanic households, so I know you were saying before how there's leftovers. Everybody is like, you sure you don't want to bring something to your house? You sure you don't want to like bring some leftovers? And they'll give you like these like large containers, like, here, take some, bring some, to your house so you can have food for the next day. And it's like, I'm good with that. I don't have to cook. You're saving me the process, the process of cooking. And that's my favorite part. I'm like, sure, I'll take all the leftovers. But yeah, so that is some of the traditions that we have over the years. Things change obviously over time, but these are the main things that we experience on the holiday season.
Jissela walks out with 2 bags of leftovers.
Yes. Hey, listen, if I don't have to cook,
I hear that. I love leftovers too. I'm totally okay with it. Sometimes it tastes better the next day. If anything, just warm it up, and you don't got to do much. You do so much days leading up to it. It's totally fine just to take a break and enjoy for what it is. I agree. Importance of Thanksgiving. Given that we are starting off the holidays with Thanksgiving, I definitely want to signify how the importance of it in being together with your loved ones, friends, family, friends who have become family, as well as yourself and your well-being. I think when you look back at the beginning of the year to where you are in this present day and moment, it shouldn't be taken for granted. It shouldn't be dubbed down either. It's funny how people say like nothing changes day by day, but when you look back, everything's changed. And Thanksgiving, I think, is a time of deep reflection where you can analyze yourself, your surroundings, realize those changes that have occurred, good, bad, and everything in between. It is a time for self-reflection, a time to be with family and talk about memories, go down memory lane. As we get older, you tend to see how all those changes have occurred. Who's there, who isn't there anymore, where you're spending Thanksgiving at in today's day, opposed to where you were a year from now or 5, 10 years from now. Jissela mentioned how, from her childhood, she didn't really care so much for it. It was just a lot of food. And while it is a lot of food, and I agree to that, I always considered food as love. I always considered food was a way of just sharing the love you have for not just the food, but for those that you're sharing it with. While I am going to be spending it with my loved ones, we do pray prior to feasting. We give our thanks to our dear Lord and appreciation for bringing us all together, for allowing us to breathe and experience this with our loved ones. As well as, on a side note, for myself, again, just being in full gratitude. I have a lot, and I can't stress, I have a lot to be thankful for this year, being a first-time mom and the birth of my baby girl. I definitely, want to be able to make those memories with her and my family, continue to make those memories with her. Maybe next year she'll be eating a chicken leg for the most part. Just really happy to actually spend that in a very organic and lovely way. And I can't, I wouldn't have it any other way but to be with my loved ones doing so. So it is a time that I think people should take out to not just get so wrapped up in who's going to be there and what you're going to wear and what you're going to eat, but more so what's coming from the inside of, and I mean within our hearts, of everyone that is going to be there, and your love for them, and also the willpower of what you've gone through, whether yourself or as a group, however, how you pulled through and you're here today. And that's something that shouldn't be taken for granted. So I wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, a one of meaning and gratitude.
I love everything that you said just now. It made me feel very sentimental, touched my heart. During this time, when we are with family, I agree, this is a time of reflection. This is a time to truly be presente and be with our loved ones, whether you are with friends or with family, whoever makes you feel the most the most supported, to give and to be grateful every day, as Jennifer said, in our highs and in our lows. Sometimes I understand that the holidays are very hard for certain people. There's different perspectives to everything. I, for one, am very grateful to be with my loved ones. My mother is very heavy on prayer. My parents have always been this way, since I was a kid. But we also do have a tradition where we go around the table and we say, what we're thankful for, and put out more well wishes to the world. I know ever since I was a kid, my father would always wish for the children that do not have meals, for them to be provided with bountiful food during this time. Because if we look at it from a different lens, there's others that do not have, and we should do what we can to give back. This is also this time of the year where giving back is important, and recognizing that importance. Definitely a time where where I'm grateful to be with my family, to be in the moment, and to have that time to recharge as well. I know that for me, that a lot of schools close during that time, so it's a time to be off, a time to not be so plugged into the day to day. But yeah, that is how we perceive today. But I guess it's an everyday thing, how we take our lows and highs, and how we can turn it into something of gratitude. Thanksgiving in America and the Indigenous communities.
And while we do come together on Thanksgiving to celebrate and be with our loved ones and all that good food, let's remember the history of Thanksgiving. And Jissela is going to guide us with a history lesson of Thanksgiving in America. For all of our listeners out there, we stand with you. We also are aware and want to bring that awareness for those who may not know or have forgotten on how the Indigenous communities fought for themselves and our land that we get to be presently here on today.
A real time to be presente. For us, today is about sharing the day off to be with loved ones and as a day to recharge, rather than celebrating the quote-unquote American holiday. El Día de Acción de Gracias, or how I knew it as a child, El Día del Pavo, took a complete turn when we separate myths from facts. For the Indigenous community who sees this holiday as a day of mourning. We thought this was a very important topic to bring to light for awareness in our podcast. Some of the facts and resources that I found were from Teen Vogue. There's a whole article written about the truth of Thanksgiving. And there's videos included on TikTok where you can learn more about the true meaning of Thanksgiving for the Indigenous peoples. Today's resources were written by Ruth Hopkins from Teen Vogue magazine. The real history, unfortunately, is one of tragedy. Many of us were taught in American schools that Thanksgiving was a day of harmony between the Native Americans and the Pilgrims. And unfortunately, that is a myth. The tribe was actually called the Wampanoag and the Pequot tribes. And the Pilgrims who were stationed to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, what is known as today. The Wampanoag were actually the ones that taught the Pilgrims how to survive on a land that they did not know how to. The Pilgrims and other Europeans killed the Wampanoag and other local tribes. So in reality, Thanksgiving was a count of victories of slaughter of the Pequot and other tribes by Massachusetts Bay Governor William Bradford in 1637. Dear America, allow us to reintroduce the holiday, quote unquote, as a time of reflection, remembrance for the tribes who mourn, a day of empathy, a reminder that we do not need a holiday to say thanks, rather to be thankful, for every day is a blessing. To continue the true stories of those who are hurting. We cannot close our eyes to facts, but let us stand with the people whose land we are in solidarity. It is a time to be off with family. It is a time to recharge in a fast-moving world that we are in. But it is also a time to understand the truth about our past and acknowledge the truth for a better future. Things can no longer be hidden under the rug. If you would like to learn more on the tribes, if you would like to understand the truth, you can go to the TikTok app and type Indigenous people and the truth about Thanksgiving. You can also use the link for Teen Vogue magazine going into more details about the history of Thanksgiving. We will share these posts on our Instagram stories, presente.podcast. And if any of you lovely listeners are out there, feel free to share with us any resources that you feel should come to light so we can share more and the truth of its history.
This concludes our episode. Tune in for next week. Presente. Thank you for joining us.